Hey friends, welcome back to She's At It Again. My name is Tanya, and I have to laugh because I just started grabbing things. I'm thinking, I'll make this soup. Oh, I need to video that. I catch myself right in the middle of it, and I'm thinking, this could be another video for someone to enjoy. So I just got a package of chicken out of the freezer. I've had it in there since just before the end of the year, and we're gonna make some chicken lasagna soup. So it's gonna take most of the day, but literally like 3 minutes right now, and then maybe 30 minutes later on. So this is going to be something we're going to enjoy for dinner tonight. So let's go make some chicken lasagna soup. Okay, as you can see, this is my small slow cooker. It has a removable insert, and this gets used a lot. This is my package of chicken. And the nice thing about this recipe is change it up however you want. If you like a lot of chicken in this, put a lot of chicken in it. If you don't like that much chicken in it, and it really doesn't matter to me, I just grabbed the first package I came to in the freezer. This is 1.16 pounds, so it's not a huge package of chicken. I am using boneless, skinless, organic chicken breast, but use whatever kind you want. Just know it's a lot more for convenience if you use the boneless, skinless. Now my challenge is getting, oh, it's coming off there easy. I start say getting it off that. And hopefully this will fit in there. I may have to cut this or see if I can cut this to get it to fit in there. Just however you can get it to fit in there. Yours may not be frozen like mine is, but we'll do what we have to. Okay, let me wash my hands. All right, so we have the chicken in the slow cooker. I'm just taking a jar of homemade chicken bone broth. This is from Organic Chicken, and I made this before this was in the refrigerator. And it looks like I've used a little bit out of it, but I would say for that much chicken, around 2 cups. And the only reason we're using chicken broth as opposed to water is because we want a strong chicken flavor in this. We're not going to be using any chicken bouillon or anything like that to flavor it with, but we still want that strong chicken flavor. So I'm just going to pour that in there. I'm going to set it for high at first. I'm just going to plug it in back here on this plug mold. I don't know if you've seen this plug mold in my kitchen or not, but I have this that runs. I have it run along the side of my countertop right here, this black strip right here on both sides, and then back behind the toaster, I have a strip of plug mold. Up underneath these cabinets on both sides here, I have plug mold. So before our house burned, I had 2 outlets in the whole kitchen. And when we remodeled after the house fire, I said, I'm gonna have me some outlets in that kitchen. So I have them all over my kitchen. Just thought I'd share that with you. All right, so we're gonna turn this on high, and we're gonna cook it to where the chicken is tender enough, and of course, obviously cooked. And we can either chop it up or shred it up. And then we'll come back and we'll show you how to make the rest of the soup. But for right now, just gonna let this cook. Another one of the things we're gonna need for our soup later on after our chicken gets ready is some diced onion and diced green bell pepper. Now, green bell pepper isn't a favorite of a lot of people's. They prefer the sweeter ones, the orange ones, the yellow ones, the red ones. But because the green is not in its really ripe stage for a bell pepper, people are kind of put off by the flavor, but this recipe needs the green one. Don't use the red one, yellow one, orange one. It actually needs the flavor of that green one. Some recipes do that. It's just no other color will do. It'll take about a cup of diced onions and about a cup of green bell pepper. I don't necessarily have a fresh green bell pepper, but I have chopped ones frozen. So that's what I use. I'll show you those in just a moment. This is my chopper that I like so much. I'm going to put an onion slice on there. Sometimes the onion slices are so big they won't fit in here, so I just cut them in half. But these seem to be okay for right now. Okay, that's our diced onion. Put this in this cup. Okay, I don't want more than a cup, so I'll just use about that much. And then here's our green pepper. That whenever I buy them at the store, I just come straight home and chop them up. These are frozen for now, so maybe they'll be thawed a bit more when we get ready to make our soup. And one average, kind of smallish bell pepper is about a cup, so I'll put just a little more than a cup in this, and that should be enough. So we'll put these in the fridge so they'll be ready for our soup when we start making it later on. Now we have our chicken finished. It's been cooking. I cooked it on high for maybe, I don't know, an hour or so, and then turned it down to low. And it's just been cooking at low for maybe a couple of hours in there. It's plenty done. Remember, it started from frozen, so. And I'm just taking it and cutting it in chunks. You can also stir it up and shred if you want to. So something similar to that. Put that in the side. Putting that aside in just a separate container. But you want to reserve the chicken broth. Don't throw it out. Don't drain this and then go, oh no, I forgot, that's part of the recipe. Keep in mind, keep the chicken broth. We are going to cook the pasta in that. That way it'll even have more flavor. Who wants to have pasta that's watered down, cooking in plain water when you could cook it in chicken broth? And I know you're probably thinking, but there's really not enough chicken broth. That's okay. There's really not that much pasta. We're only going to use 8 ounces. So I just wanted to show you taking the chicken out, cutting it up, but the most important thing is reserve your chicken broth. So I'll be right back. Over here at the stovetop now, obviously. I just want to say something ahead of time. This is not what this original recipe looked like. A friend of mine brought this to a small group Bible study we were having. We ate together afterwards, and it was so good I needed the recipe. But like a lot of recipes, I'll take a recipe that calls for all kinds of cream of whatever soups, Velveeta, not real cheese is in, and I'll take it and replace things in it to where it tastes the same, but it's not those ingredients because I don't need those ingredients. I'm trying to make better choices here. So this is one of those recipes. My friend is a great cook, but this particular recipe had some cream of stuff in it and some Velveeta wannabe cheese and all that stuff. So we just changed it up. I'm changing it up for the first time doing this because up until now I've used that kind of cheese, not necessarily the canned soups, but I've always used the Velveeta, so I'm replacing it with some Monterey Jack in this. So this is kind of an experiment. I just want to make sure this tastes the same, but I'll let you know in the comments. I will make the first comment on the video, hopefully, and let you know exactly what this is like, because you know I'm not going to taste this when the camera's on, because I don't do that. I don't like that food noise. I don't like the smacking and the licking the spoon and all that, so I'm not going to put you through that because I wouldn't want to be put through that. Even though I enjoy people telling me what they think of things, I don't like hearing that stuff. But just so you know, this is not what the original recipe was like, but it's close enough to where I'm hoping it's going to taste the same because it is fabulous. It's so good. Okay, so I have my saucepan heating up right now, and we are going to take a half cup of butter or an olive oil or a good quality avocado oil, something like that. Use what you have, but make good choices because it's going to be in your body. This is fuel, so choose your fuel wisely. So half cup of butter. To that, we're going to add, y'all know I buy organic mushrooms when I see them marked down, and I bring them home and I chop them up in a bag. We're going to put what's equal to about 4 whole mushrooms. These are cremini mushrooms. Okay, that's equal to about 4 mushrooms. If you're not fond of mushrooms, I am so sorry, but this soup really, really needs these mushrooms in it. There's not a good replacement. You can't say like, well, can I just use apples instead? No, it's not the same. I'm going to add about a half teaspoon of salt to this. Now, I'm probably going to have to add more salt to this than I normally would, just because I'm not putting the artificial cheese in there, which is loaded with a lot of salt. I'm just using Monterey Jack in this. So we will see at some point how much more salt I'm going to need. We're just going to cook these mushrooms till it's tender. Obviously, we're going to cook it till the butter melts too. All right, I think I'm going to go ahead and put my bell peppers and onions in this, because the onions have to cook until they're kind of clear anyway, and they're still in a semi-frozen state. So these are the ones we chopped up earlier. It's basically an onion and a bell pepper, but I've already had mine chopped up, so it's about a cup of each of those. I need to turn my heat up. It's having to fight some cold vegetables in there. Okay, I want to show you the package. This is the cheese I'm using. 1 pound package of Monterey Jack. I looked online, not necessarily today, but before this, and looked up to see what people thought was a good recommendation for a good substitute for Velveeta. People were like, oh yeah, Swiss cheese. I'm like, are you kidding? The only thing they have in common is that you keep them in the refrigerator. Velveeta does not taste like Swiss cheese. But I think as far as the texture, and once you add plenty of salt to it, that Monterey Jack is probably the closest thing I can think of that would be a good substitute for Velveeta. Now, people were saying all things like cheddar or pepper jack, things like that. If you want peppers in them, that's great. I don't have anything against that. But as far as the Velveeta, I mean, there's recipes that I think, you know, it just has to have that. It's not like it's going to kill me to eat one serving of it. But I'd just rather not use it if I could find a really good substitute for it. So I'm hoping this works out really well. Okay, we'll fast forward through this so you don't necessarily have to watch this come to a boil. All right, as soon as that onion starts turning transparent, you know the mushrooms are cooking, the peppers are cooking, we're going to go ahead and put our flour in there. The only reason I say that is because this soup is not going to be eaten immediately as soon as you get it done. You're probably going to leave it on the stove for a while. The heat's going to continue cooking the ingredients in there, so it's not like you're going to get something crunchy. If you do, then you were really hungry and ate that soup really, really fast. But ideally, you're going to either cook it, reheat it later, or you're going to keep it warm on the stove until it's ready to serve. So I'm not worried about there being too many crunchy raw things in there. So just so you know, it's supposed to be cooked, but I think we're okay. We're going to add anywhere from 2/3 to 3/4 of a cup of flour. If you need this to be gluten-free, you can use gluten-free pasta in this, and you can use a gluten-free flour blend, whatever you need, brown rice flour, whatever. Okay, I'm just eyeballing this, but I think this is probably closer to 2/3. Now, obviously, we're making a roux out of this. So you can see that the flour is absorbed, and that's why I have my milk waiting over there. I'm going to turn that heat down just a bit. I'm going to go ahead and add my 2 ounces of cream cheese to this as well, because you know when I make cream of mushroom soup, it has cream cheese in it. And before I learned that, I was just like, it's okay, but it really doesn't taste as good as the canned gross stuff. But when I started putting cream cheese in it, I'm telling you, we passed that canned stuff a long time ago. It makes the perfect cream of mushroom soup. Okay, I've got my chicken broth back here on this back burner heating up, because I'm going to cook my pasta in this. This comes together so quickly once you have all your ingredients. measured out. Well, once you have your chicken cooked, and pretty much it comes together pretty quickly. All right, just trying to get that cream cheese kind of mixed in with the flour. I don't think it'll be a problem after a while. It's not like you're going to have a lump of cream cheese because it's all going to melt and get stirred in there together. All right, we're going to slowly add our milk to the mixture. Once my broth back here on this burner gets hot, I'm going to put my pasta in there, and I'll show you what pasta I'm using. If you've ever had a box of lasagna noodles, or if you've made homemade pasta and you think, oh, I had too much, I'm hoping you've saved it because this is a good way to use that up. I had some extra homemade ones in the cabinet, but I didn't quite have 8 ounces of that, so I'm just adding some random package of some other kind of pasta that I had. Just try to make sure you have things that are about the same thickness, because you don't want one to get done and start getting all mushy and then the other one still be too al dente to be considered done. So I may have a challenge on my hand with that, because one of mine is store-bought organic pasta and the other one is homemade pasta. So obviously the homemade is probably going to cook faster because it's considerably thinner. But broken lasagna noodles, broken big giant shells, any kind of big pasta. It could be small pasta, but the recipe actually calls for 8 ounces of lasagna noodles, roughly broken. Okay, this was 4 cups of whole organic milk. Whoops, I'm just slinging it everywhere. Good thing I just cleaned my stovetop. Not very clean looking now. All right, this is bubbling over here. Let me turn the camera around this way. This is bubbling. So this is what my broken lasagna noodles look like. Looks like some pieces of cardboard, actually. I'm going to put my other ones in there first, because these are the store-bought ones. I weighed these on the scale, and that's how I know it's about 8 ounces. So that's some linguine. We'll cook that a little while, and then I'll add the homemade ones that are a lot thinner. I'm going to stir this a little bit, kind of keep scraping the bottom, get those bits that have cooked to the bottom off of there. And this will start to get thicker, obviously. Seems a little strange cooking pasta in that little amount of liquid, because normally you have all this massive amount of liquid and then you have to drain it all off, but all that is going in here. So whatever liquid doesn't get absorbed by the pasta is going to go in the soup, which is totally fine. Just going to add flavor and thin it down just a bit. I can actually add my chicken at this point too. Nothing that says you can't. Again, that was just a tiny bit over 1 pound of chicken, but like I said, if you want to use a whole chicken, whatever you have and whatever's your favorite, use that. I just happen to have some chicken breasts in the freezer, and that's the first package I grabbed. And this is our cheese that I shredded earlier. We're going to, the Monterey Jack, we're going to put that in there at the very last. Really and truly, this is the only reason this is called chicken lasagna soup, is because of these little pitiful little old broken lasagna noodles. Because really and truly, well, I guess maybe chicken lasagna would have green peppers in it. I don't know. I've never seen green peppers in lasagna, but I'm telling you, the flavor of this will knock your socks off. It really is very, very delicious. And my friend Sarah She sent this soup to our small group Bible study, but she didn't even come that night because one of her kids were sick. I mean, we were like stumbling over ourselves trying to get her on the phone to tell her we needed the recipe for this. Everybody was wanting the recipe. Okay, I'm waiting until these get slightly cooked so I can add the other pasta to it, the lasagna noodles. If you start cooking this and you panic and go, that's drying up, that doesn't have enough liquid, add more chicken broth to it, or if you have to, add water. That's totally fine. It's just you're going to get more of a power punch of flavor if you add broth rather than just water. That's why I started out with broth in the first place. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add these lasagna noodles. They might turn into mush. I don't know. I just don't know. See, this already has a really pretty consistency to it. We don't even have the cheese in it yet, and we don't have those in it yet. Okay, I'll show you what this looks like. I think you can see that. Now, if we did not have the flour in this as a thickener, and it was just kind of a watery base to it with just the vegetables and things, when you added that Monterey Jack cheese in it, it would tend to stick together like strings, like you've got a kind of a pan of rubber bands, and when you scooped some out to serve it, it would stick to your ladle, it would stick to the pan, but because of the flour is like a school teacher that tells kids to sit down in their own seat. Instead of everybody blobbing up in one corner of the room, she tells them, go sit down in your seat, and everybody is spread out accordingly to the size of the classroom. So I liken that to putting flour in a soup, or rice flour if you need that, if you need it to be gluten-free, because what it does is when that stringy cheese goes into the mixture, instead of finding all its friends and clicking over together in a corner like all with all your besties, it kind of rides on the backs of these flour granules and disperses out throughout the mixture in a very uniform way instead of, blobbing up. So all that being said, now that you have heard the explanation in kindergarten terms, you know that it's a good thing to have a thickener in your soup if you're adding cheese to it. I don't normally stir things with a sharp knife, but I'm just trying to keep it from sticking to the bottom. Okay, I'm going to have to add a little bit of water to this. I didn't start out with a full 2 cups of broth, so that's probably my issue right there. Had I had at least 2 or even 3 cups of broth, that would have been better. Okay, I'm going to turn my heat completely off on this soup, or the soup on this burner, just because I don't need it to continue cooking. I just need it to stay hot, because the only thing I'm going to do is add my pasta and my cheese to it. So we'll come back when I start adding those to it in a minute, just so you don't have to watch the steam coming out of the pan. Okay, I turned my back. I literally turned my back for 5 minutes. I'm over there answering a question on YouTube. Somebody asked me a question about a different recipe. Obviously not this one, I haven't put it out yet. But I looked over there and this pan was steaming. So it's used up all the liquids and it has some pasta stuck to the bottom. So I'm just going to pour it directly into there. And we're going to have to scrub this pan. It is a mess. But it won't have as much pasta as it normally has. I just don't want to get any of the burned pasta in there. That would not taste very good, because it doesn't smell very good. It's been a while since I burned pasta. I can't even remember the last time I burned some pasta, but this would be the day. So for your viewing enjoyment, this is how not to cook pasta. That is horrendous. That is just horrendous. But it's okay. This will still taste fine. I just needed cooked pasta in there. Good lands, this is going to make so much. I hope my cheese fits in there. That is making more than I remembered it making. I guess I cooked it in a bigger, like a Dutch oven when I made it before. It's been a while since I've made this. All right, get the pasta stirred in. You almost can't even see the pasta. Oh well. Am I still going to taste the pasta? Yes, I will. All right, set that little monster aside. And let me shake this up again. We'll put as much cheese in here as will fit. And again, this is not pre-shredded. I don't even know if you can get pre-shredded Monterey Jack. Does anybody know? Somebody tell me in the comments if you can actually buy pre-shredded Monterey Jack. If you can, don't do it. Yeah, don't. It has a coating on there. You don't want that. It's not good. I know it's a convenience factor, but come on, just let somebody shred it for you if you don't like shredding. Just get a good shredder. That actually makes it better. If you have a good shredder, then like a box grater, then you enjoy doing it. If you don't have a good grater, good shredder, then you don't enjoy doing it. I actually have 3 that I really like, so I don't mind doing it unless I have like pounds and pounds of cheese to grate, and then I borrow the KitchenAid attachment from someone that fits on my mixer that shreds it. Okay, oh, this smells absolutely delightful, y'all. Okay, I'm just about to the top of this pan. This will have no problem staying warm until we eat it for dinner tonight. Look how cheesy that is. Woo, I love it. Okay, I'll not use this little last bit of Monterey Jack because I'm going to be using some leftovers to make nachos tomorrow, and I'll just use that for that. Okay, set this aside. That's done for now. All my burners are off. I got to go clean a pan. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. And in the thumbnail, you'll probably see me with this, or I'll get my husband to shoot a video of putting it in a bowl or something. Anyway, again, in the first comment, I'll let you know exactly what I think of this soup. If I need to add more salt to it, and I will adjust the recipe accordingly. So recipe in the description as always. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to sharing something again with you real soon. We really do, guys. See ya. Bye. Okay, here's the scoop, guys. I just tasted this. I would add a little more salt. I added more salt to mine. I adjusted the recipe for more salt, more chicken broth, and less flour. So this is quite thick, as you can see, but I am not complaining about the thickness. This is beautiful, and it tastes fabulous. It really, really does. So recipe is in the description, as it should be. The right increments of everything. So hope you enjoy it. Give it a try. Thanks, guys. Bye.